Hi guys, minimize OBS. Okay, so hello everybody, how's it how? My name is William, and you can always know as Duke or William, which is my matter name. And today I'm going to talk about the campaign called Redeem Your Space. Now before I can get to that, I want to talk about something else, alright? Yeah. I want to talk about some of the game types Redeem Your Space gives you before I can talk about the campaign itself, okay? Because it's also, Redeem Your Space also a mod, also gives you some game types as well. So let's start with this. The ones that RYS white. Yeah, the RYS pack. Those are the ones that says Redeem Your Space. You got Cloak Match. This version. Gravity Match. Yeah, RYS white pack version. Marine Match. This version, yeah. It looks like that's it. So it gives you 3 game types. Okay. Yeah, that's what I found out for Redeem Your Space anyway. Alright, so that's what Redeem Your. So that's how many game types you get from the mod called Redeem Your Space. And I'll talk about the campaign, but I'll talk more about the campaign soon because I have to do something right now, guys. You know. You know. Yeah, I haven't played Redeem Your Space yet. It's something new to me, and maybe something new to you if you haven't played it yet. Anyway, so that's what Redeem Your Space is. You know, that campaign. You know, I'll talk more about it. Um, well, when I come back, because I have to do something, alright? I'll be right back. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. Okay, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you something for a minute, okay? So, alright, so the guy we'll be playing as is Black Knight. That's the guy we'll be playing as, alright? Now I have to go right now, guys, so I'll be right back. I'll be right back, guys. Hi guys, my name is OBS, and today I'll be talking about Redeem Your Space. Now, I haven't played Redeem Your Space yet, but that's the next campaign I'll be playing anyway, so. And if it's new to you, you haven't played it yet, well, you know, then that's alright, then you can learn it together, you know. If, you know, I haven't played it yet anyway, but Or you can learn what it is. Alright, so let's remember what devious space is called in other languages. I'm gonna be going to. So with devious space campaign.
Campaña canjea tu espacio.
Caña du espacio. That's how to say it in Spanish. And now Mandarin.
兑换你的太空活动。
Diha ni Taikon Hondong. Let's just say it in Mandarin. It looks like it's both simplified and traditional Chinese characters, so that's fine. But why be anything, right? What is redeem your space? Well, I'm gonna look for the review first. Because it's not, somehow it's not letting me get on it. Okay, found it. So, right here. So it's made by Mr. Packy. The title is so the platform for this game is for Anya Gold. Yep, it's a large campaign, so yeah, probably one of the largest campaigns for Anya Gold anyway. I'm gonna read it right now. So redeem your. So it's called. It's a few steps away from being a true classic. Yeah. So here, but Devious Space has become somewhat infamous over the time it's been out. But both the mainstay of co-op servers, being a Czech set that never got any official English translation. Well. So yeah. So, which is a major barrier to access to amount of text. However, a major hand of the full translation, which is the version that I used in the review, and most of this one's the largest set out. There, it was originally empathetic. When you put it all together, can also be an obstacle. But the translation version I used was an all-in-one release. Okay. Alright, so yeah, so it was originally made in Czech. So that means it must have been, yeah, this campaign was made in Czechia. Czechia, yeah. you know. And I know the long name of Czechia is Czech Republic, so. But I just call it Czechia. Alright? You know, that's fine. You know, I live in the USA. And I'm going to play the English version of Redeem Your Space because it's the only language I speak. I don't know any word in Czech. But anyway, let's just keep reading. So the intro sets the world in this pack, which is clearly different one from Unreal's own. A future Earth under the totalitarian control of a 1984 Stalin government. Your character is a lucky citizen given a choice to take a space trip away if their watch a PR stunt. The Earth is situation is overly relevant until much later, until actor started waking up from a sorrow sleep with your spaceship under attack, known for an unknown threat. The player character is a translated combined thoughts and not the set. Alright, well, which character I'm playing as? Black Knight? Okay. Now let's keep reading this. And even the dialogue interactions at times, which helps to give some sense of what the next goal is. As what's the player's thoughts, it is a lore in the set. It's almost overwhelming at first, but it does give a little less content as you progress. And this is where the translated nature of the set becomes an issue. Reading through, there is some strange constances. It's hard to tell how much always there, how much it's there, and how much the translation mistake misinterpretation. The version I use this level isn't translated, but the time translation map a few lines of text, so it's not really an issue. Remember the long Scare Town levels. Alright, so initially you're trying to survive after you escape an alien planet, but soon your basic episode of formula essentially casts you into an assassin planet hoping via stargates. Instead of taking inspiration from the TV show movie, but I haven't seen them. I don't know the extent of this to take out the leaders or stuff on real factions and to destabilize their planned invasion. Both of the peaceful factions Earth itself working towards a bigger goal in the end. And there's also some plot running of the strange demonic forces. And that's trouble to each planet you visit. The overall mood is a little hard to certain though. This is a series of multiple jokes, references, other likes, nearly mental and plug references. The author themselves is even show up occasionally. Also, the Hellraiser movie is seemingly canon. I can't say this is a spoiler meant after finishing just as confused as anyone reading this will be, despite all the mood swings and the sheer strangeness. There's an obvious ambition behind the story, real big a few other sets have matched, although actual script sequences to convey it in game is somewhat sporadic and it shows up more consistently toward the end. Each of the 7 planets you go to has a quite distinct and feels different. The actual quite of symmetry of consistent here, so consistent, and in general there's a large outdoor exteriors, so it's contrasted with somewhat cubic and basic interiors. There are also long or repetitive corridors, although this is tend at least after typo. However, it actually does some interesting things of geometry at times. It makes use of rarely used assets to create things that feel new, mostly on vanilla materials. The lighting does veer towards being flat, repetitive a bit too often. The brighter he gets greeting somewhat often, but also makes the great use of fog of some nice atmospheric lighting and spookier sections. The lighting it makes a lot of textures creating ways, notable misalignments, rare, and given how huge the set of the experimental stuff it does. This is probably the strongest part of the visuals. This one's one of the large scale town levels. One says spooky tunnels. Okay, the sound design to be strong, needs to be it sounds, and okay, and it's got of large beats parts. The computation things is things like sculpting the music exposed to various sources, though it's mostly vanilla and generally fits with the appropriate song section shifts. The only notable issue is I noticed the sound of the demon enemies varies between levels, which is seemed to be an oversight. The Bionic of staying out of the area that's constantly good, but for its massive maze, a build is relatively consistent. I think it's due to improve goals, but it's quite gradual and even earlier parts of some standouts. So yeah, just spooky tunnels in there, huh? The gameplay is quite consistent. Unfortunately, the issue is the main type encounter is combined clearing, which is the main a lot of spamming direct weapons and clear rooms. Each planet has specific enemy time, which is also a result of the spam roster of enemy types of each section. So any frequently enemy is just spending a section only fighting only a few types of enemies. These two issues especially compound the brute section where you are dealing with constant splash damage spam combined with spongy enemies, and the confinement out of the doors, and which company leads to more awkward scuffles. Although they have best to always your best friend a lot at a time, but it feels like it leads to scuffles, even though although they are also your best friend a lot at a time. It's just it feels like there are too many enemies. As the titanium weakest aspects, the levels could be had effortless, exclusively be enemies of the explorer, despite all the all the issues actually very hard in current of its current version. The build was enough ammo to equip by a ton of power-ups, and equip the mood of if all else fails. On one note, it's particularly wild to realize, but the jump boots are even replaced by a cloaking device. It makes you invisible while jumping much higher. And there's also a funny bug when you spam off a second jump fast as high as you want, but I'm not sure even the built-in bug and of the version I'm using. The noble invisibility is still there, allowing invisibility time, which I found massive help at times. The design of the things like here's where Titans starting to gain numerous. Boss fights are also lagging as most trigger of the mostly just bigger version of the normal enemies and sponge of the levels of the map. But when these tend to get plenty of, it seems that the matter gets better, you can backtrack doing them. So a lot you can retreat you can do towards there. Also a lot of Merchant Marines with standard bot type issues. Although at the least in the off of the on one note, the Return of Poly assets along with the quad shot are used here generally fit pretty well. There's a lot of issues, but it has any aspects too. While the overuse of enemies takes away from the exploration of generally Dragon's aspect. This is the largest, most fully realized I've seen in Unreal 1. While at least it leads to repetition, and this way, and the way it's almost built, it's almost every building full of interior, exterior leads, and since a place world building, and it's frankly on a massive scale, including some interesting skyboxes. There are also there's a larger target to infiltrate, and while that how engaging the interior is varies. This does like the castle is an Asian is in the Asian themed planet. Folk wonder of the larger maps in Unreal 1 for the first time. The quality exploration of what a particular 10 of the important buildings at all. And just think about it until you can see what important you can see something important. The enjoyable levels is it's too obvious, but the points in the room better to explore its own sake. The Brutes Egypt themed planet has levels I feel experiencing both the best or worst of this. The second level section has nice exterior. A fertilized town, but the gameplay is absolute nadir. Okay, nadir. What you have is a find a few switches across many buildings to open and exit. There are absolutely no clues beyond messages hiding their existence, so you have to go through repetitive buildings dealing with brutes in confined spaces. And the issues I made earlier to find the switches. The couple of levels is another. Find stuff in a huge area map, but this time there's no really clarity. The TO visually. So quite obvious and important to exploration forsake it. But the all unique approaches and challenges. The level is the level has some issues but come with the brute combat. But it has so much more fun and probability one of my favorites in the set. Alright. Sometimes I even think it's more however using areas work. The particular of the underground horror of on in several directions, only a few chokes. It only works in context clues and levels of secret levels like I usually found one, rest of it is finishing. It's clear that Thief series like this, the particular level is they captured like the Bonehard, and wherever the giant star area with times I managed to finish the whole set without looking up anything. I came close at times. In particular, there's a level to find up in the sky somewhere, and in the bunch of ruined buildings. Evading many titans. I basically found it by accident. Although it's locating buildings of let's be random. As mentioned, is a lot of levels issues. It was not clear making which things are important. So you just have to look around until you find something. As mentioned, there's a secret level in each episode. Most of them are quite different than the rest. And things like a level when you mention a giant room and containing a tasteless 9/11 reference for some reason. A vegetation going to some partly built recreations in some early parts. There's a giant computer sky and some philosophical horror in a Hellraiser map. Bigger difference is that it's the thief one level of the sword and has some most creative geography. Most creative geometry. Geometry. I've seen in an Unreal 1 map. It's worth playing in themselves. I went through everything that's set to offer, both good and bad. This would be the novel at the end, but I feel like good is the strongest when it comes to surprise. There's some exhibitions of an engaging large-scale fights. But since the combat tends to be the weaker part of things compared to the exploration of the puzzle focus part, along with some soaking of the atmosphere and in the butter looking levels. While there's too many levels and have too much walking through Pandora's, the computer design is frequently great, and even some weaker levels have attempts of building the lore. Outside the cloaking device, I think I did encounter any particular issues. How many the pack is. Doors are very irritating how generally I'll get, despite how many they are. There's also many open boss levels where you could get eaten by BSP holes quite easily. Okay, so there's also BSP holes in this campaign too. I didn't even know that, but yeah. Although you can keep the central part to avoid them. There's also a tree mesh of the tree that looks nice. Very thin blocks things and don't get track of usually mesh at all. The quad shot was bugged for me. Although still functional, but it seems to be a 2027 issue, not a specific issue with the set. This doesn't affect my techno score. This is a larger text at the end. Although, okay, and given by weeks for one person of the your work, the designers influences and preferences kind of showing of the particular of the images and the subtlety of what's the subtlety, even in the most really result. Yes. Reading stuff. I'm reading something, Mom. Let me read something, please.
Okay. Just want to see what you're doing, that's all. Say I'm reading right now.
Okay. Let's go back to what I was reading now. I think there's more good than bad outside issues with combat design. It's a shame that the combat probably is the most enjoyable gameplay given how it is. This feels a few steps away from being a true classic, even more restrained in that regard. It's better comparable to the player. You need a little bit more coherence in general, but it's probably worth keeping a difficulty setting down in other aspects that tends toward being tedious more than difficult. On the other hand, it's particularly more paradise, despite some section being repetitive. Alright, and the original untranslated version is in 7 parts. You know, the ones that are in Czech. You know. But if you want to get the English version, which is the newest translation for Unreal 227, well, it says right here, Redeem Your Space Unreal 227i English. So the earliest 227 patch you can get for this to work is 227i. You know, but it does work on 27J and K, so. And I had 227K, and I'm sure it does work in this campaign anyway. I know I tested it. It does work in this campaign, so. But the earliest version you can use for this campaign, Redeem Your Space, is 227i, so. Just letting you know anyway if you want to play it in an earlier patch, you know. I have 227K, so that's it right there. Now, that's it about that. Yeah, and the score is 62. The rating is just, yeah, the rating is fair. Alright, so I'll go turn on the campaign now. And I got on medium. ETs I'm going to use just low gravity this time. Alright, so I'll go ahead and start it. The 21st century since this country is still rising. It's headed out of control. In the year 2048, it broke out of the Third World War. And after being cruel years, most of the world has been turned into ruins. Many parts of the world became unlivable after the nuclear strikes. I remember as a little child, poverty and food and on ration. My father has been killed before by birth. My mother has disappeared when I was 8 years old. That's what it says. The 16th, 21st century, the totalitarian government is gaining its power in the world. The world is probably going to change. There's no freedom of speech, privacy, and nor freedom of mind. No, that children betraying their parents and reforming the government as no regular love. There exists only love. Okay. Oh, the children contain much of the propaganda as nothing else. The corrupted brain warning. Every man's a human life is said of my party, which is clumping invasions order. Okay. News, existing wars, is a traitors, is all that part of the supervision. I'm sorry, it's going too fast for me to read. You can pause it if you want to read. If you want to read more of it. The government is party allows few lucky people defy the orbit, but party is shown this way. It's just going too fast for me to read here. Let me see. There's no love that exists a big brother, okay? It's just with brains. Oh, okay. There's plenty only advancement of mankind, okay. Now, I don't like this noise, but I'll grab a translator. Well, I'll reread this translation. I've been awakened for cryostatus, but what's of this been? Alarm on. Is on something as I've been breached as a ship, or maybe someone has been attacked us. I should look attack around here a bit more. Alright. But that's not gonna read so far. Anyway, I don't like this noise, but I'm gonna save this game though. Alright, because I have to go right now. And I'm gonna read that and I'm gonna read that message again next video, just in case you haven't watched this one. So I'll play level 1. What's the name of this level? Escape from Boltar. Okay, Escape from Boltar is the name of this level. Is the name of the first level, and I'll play that level, and I'll play this level next video, and you guys have to go right now. So thank you for watching this video. Just say goodbye. Adios, Zai-chan. Alright, goodbye guys.